Hello and welcome to episode 1 of the Tiki Chatter podcast. Joined today myself, Andylegoub, and I'm joined by...
Jack Stevenson. Sorry, I've said that like I'm being introduced. Okay.
Yeah,
Zoom thing.
you have to
Like,
bear
this
with
is
us
a,
guys. We're going to be
uh,
accidentally talking over each other and a bit
yeah, definitely.
nervous / rambly for the first one, but we thought...
Yeah. Well, that was the beginning there,
Yeah.
introducing myself like I'm in a meeting.
We'll-
That's the only interaction.
We thought we might have something to offer to the football world, and sort of we're quite arrogant and just want to talk about football.
Yeah, I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, we definitely don't, but hopefully one or two of you might want to pop us in your ears and have a conversation with us about football. So,
Yeah. Or at the very least, our friends can listen. So, that's
yeah,
always
exactly.
nice.
That's a very good point, Jack.
Yeah, thank you. It's all right. I'm here.
Right. So, if I could kindly ask you, Jack, to give us a bit about yourself. Firstly, on a personal level, and then move on a football level, because that is what we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. My name is Jack. I'm from Brighton, massive Brighton fan. Until I literally could not get in the stadium, till they would not let me. I was at every game, more or less, this season. The season before that, just really like football from all levels. I'm a massive non-league fan. And I think I've got to that age in life, and I don't know whether this is something that most people go through at this age, but I'm starting to get into European football, and that usually indicates some kind of midlife crisis or something, or just sort of like a man who's getting older and is becoming bored of the spices of life, and the real spice he needs is European football. Especially with the Bundesliga coming back before anybody else, I was suddenly, looking at Werder Bremen's team and their management tactics. So
That was a big eye opener for. Well, we needed something, didn't we? And
yeah.
good old Germans gave us something.
I particularly enjoyed Werder Bremen coming from. I think they were on about 20 points and overturned it. 9 or 10 points. Well, they were on.
Mad.
They were on 20 points. We'll overturn 20 points. They were on 20 points.
Okay, yeah.
8 or 9 points off relegation, and on the last day they won 6-1 to get stay in the league. No difference.
Basically, did what Norwich couldn't.
Exactly. Or Paderborn, who just went down without a whimper completely.
Big Brighton fan. How long would you say you've been a Brighton fan for?
I'm 23, so I presume 23 years.
Yeah. Earliest Brighton memory?
Earliest Brighton memory. There's memories from when you're a kid and you're not sure whether they're real memories or whether you just sort of making it up in your head. But I can vaguely remember the sign of "Welcome to Port Vale" the year we won the championship in 2000. 2000, something like that. It would have been 2001.
Yeah, I would have another one. Just a little disclaimer: if we get any dates wrong or we're not 100%, we're doing this off memory on this occasion, so bear with us. But I will say, Jack, you are pretty fucking good on this sort of stuff. So
yeah, I have got a book somewhere in my house called "On Brighton and Hove Albion on This Day." Which tells you.
I've read that.
So I could probably tell you that exact date. But anyway, remembering that, I think we won 1-0. Paul Watson and Bobby Zamora combined for the billionth time that season. So that's my earliest football memory. But I think memory of the game was maybe the playoff final at Cardiff, 2004.
Big occasion. Leon Knight penalty.
Everybody's favourite 5G conspiracy theorist now.
Leon Knight is just... Well, when I was about 8 or 9, he was my hero. And now...
Now he's just professional troll.
He's turned into a bit of a melt.
Yeah, he
To
did
say the
used to
least.
run a clothing line with David Stockdale, which I thought was an odd twist
Yeah,
for both. But I don't know what happened with
must
that.
be the root of the flop.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, is there anything you want to say about yourself, Andy?
Right. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say it on. I'm just gonna completely be honest on this one because
I
I know
don't like.
you'll call me out. I'm what
Yeah.
you call a plastic. There we go. I said it. I right. I'd say I'm 80% Brighton fan. If I was to describe it, I'd say Brighton's my long-term loyal girlfriend, but Arsenal are my little dirty neighbour that I look through the blinds at when she's walking past my house. So,
Fair enough. I think that is pretty accurate for
um,
being a.
considering, well, for a long time, obviously Brighton and Arsenal were in very different leagues. Arsenal high flying in the Premiership, so I could sort of enjoy them without them interfering with Brighton. But since I've been around, Brighton have come from League One to the Championship, and now they're bloody beating Arsenal in the
Doing the
Premiership.
double. Doing the double.
Which, if you were to ask me how I feel about that, I'm bloody ecstatic that Brighton have come this far and now beating Arsenal. And when we were playing them and beating them 2-1, I was cheering that we were winning.
I
When
think
I
I was
say
trying to take.
we're, I mean Brighton. It's going to be
Yeah.
confusion. But
I
yeah,
think I was trying to take bits out of the house when Brighton scored that.
yeah,
The
Lim,
first time I'd had more than a pint in what felt like months.
yeah. That
So
was
I wasn't really feeling like.
first game back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
first game back that was. First time I'd had pints in months, and it got to my head very quickly. So,
but
um,
yeah,
yeah.
armchair fan. Uh, look, when it comes to football, I'm sort of more of the tactical appreciation. I've got
Fair
a
enough.
level 2 coaching badge, so I like to
Have you?
think
No, I didn't know it was that.
level 2 FA coaching badge, so like to think I can sort of see things the average fan doesn't. Maybe I'm being a bit of a cocky bastard there, but out of the two of us, I'd say Jack's definitely the biggest football fan.
Yeah,
I'll give
well,
that one
thank
to
you for
you.
the thank you for the
How
compliment.
many grounds have you done?
107. But some people are going to probably dispute that some of them are parks. But the lowest level I've been is, I think, whatever division AFC Vardinians are in. So I think that's County Division 2.
Oh, I've played them.
Oh, well, there you go. So, and
Yeah.
that counts as ground on the Groundhopper app. Not being paid to promote them,
This is
but
a this is another philosophical debate. How do you measure football fan? I mean,
yeah, well, very much. I like lots of people at Brighton
there's
get very
different
angry.
echelons to it, really, isn't there?
Yeah, like people at Brighton especially get very sort of angry. I think especially since we got to the Amex about people that
Yeah,
didn't,
there's a
this
Withdean
whole.
Amex debate always.
Yeah, and it's sort of this
going
is
on.
very much with older people who are very much like you can't moan because you didn't go to like Gillingham
Mm,
and like whatever we lost.
generational thing.
Yeah, then we lost a whole generation of fans, and every time I walk through a park in Brighton, it's so much better to see children actually wearing Brighton shirts rather than
Yeah.
Man United or Arsenal. And I don't really care if they didn't go to the Goldstone Ground or Withdean, as long as they grow up supporting Brighton,
Yeah.
and that'll be fine. But I think the thing which has always annoyed me about Brighton is we're not necessarily like you go to cities in especially in Championship and Premier League, like Newcastle and Leeds, where every man and their dog in the city supports
Yeah.
Newcastle and Leeds. And I think that was
Yeah.
always the thing about Brighton was people didn't necessarily support Brighton who lived here. But now it is, and I'd rather have that than any.
Yeah. I mean, to second that, I think I'm gonna say Brighton is never gonna be on the level of Newcastle and Leeds. Like, if you go to
No.
Newcastle and their team loses that week, the whole city as a collective, they're miserable. Whereas in Brighton, unfortunately, I mean, I hope we can get to that. like the passion in Brighton is just not there compared to.
No, I think it can be. I think especially time that we've seen a
I
lot of the
mean,
protests.
you
But
just got to look at the Amex on there. What would you
yeah,
call it? There's a TV atmosphere, then there's an atmosphere when we're not on TV. I don't know.
I think we did have a good atmosphere, but I think this season, especially the atmosphere went because a lot of people getting arguments about it on Twitter. It's a wonderful platform, we
Yeah,
all
I'm
know
not even
that.
on Twitter, so
Oh, it's the
might
greatest
as well
place ever.
dodge that one.
Um, and yeah, it's people say we the atmosphere is crap this season, and it has been. There's no point debating it, but there's lots of reasons for that, and I don't think it's necessarily to do with passion. We've been in the Premier League 3 seasons.
Yeah,
You get to a point where you're seeing the same thing, and
it's
that's not to say it's bad, but you're seeing the same thing, and the atmosphere is just going to decrease.
you lose a certain level of atmosphere when you get comfortable with being in the Premier League
Yeah,
or
I mean
wherever you are.
it happened when we were in the Championship.
Yeah,
In the third season, we were in the Championship with the 2014-15 season under Hupia, and the atmosphere was crap there, and we bombed completely. And that was the third season in the Championship. Fourth season that was, but similar time, and it just sort of got stagnant, and then it revitalised. So I'm not, it's nothing too bad. I think it can be changed, and I think there can be a lot of passion in the club like there is in Leeds. And actually, I saw this on Twitter the other day that Brighton actually have the most fans who we are their nearest club. So
really,
yeah, we've got the biggest catchment area. So there's not to say in a few years we can't be like Leeds or Newcastle United, and that's even with Crawley Town. We have the most because we've got over 1 million people whose nearest football club is Brighton. So we could have that support, but it just takes a while. So
you need that snowball.
Yeah, it's not disheartening, especially as people get older and carry on supporting the club.
Okay.
So there you go.
Enough about ourselves and Brighton. Onto maybe polar opposites. What's your thoughts on the current UEFA scandal and Man City's Champions League eligibility flipping from 2 years suspension to not being guilty at all and only having to pay 10 million? What's your thoughts on that?
I think it's quite obvious for quite a few years that financial fair play simply means sweet nothing. I think it just doesn't really make sense. I mean, I'm quite mixed on it because you've got people like Jurgen Klopp saying this is a bad day for football, and a lot of the big clubs, Man United, Arsenal. I did call Arsenal a big club there, so
wow, touching.
Yeah, I know that was touching. Man United, Arsenal, Chelsea especially, where it's kind of like they're kind of making out that this is the worst thing. What Man City's doing is the worst thing, but at the end of the day, they're not a traditional top six club. And
you mean that in a historic sense?
Yeah, in a historic sense, they are now, obviously, but they weren't, and it feels like they spent money, whereas Man United, they've spent millions for years. They've broken the British transfer record loads of times, and it feels like nobody was saying, "Why are you spending all this money?"
That is sort of recent, though. I will say that.
No, it is recent, but you think all these clubs have had money, Chelsea especially, the Abramovich. I don't think
there's levels to it, though, because recently, if you look at Liverpool, they've sort of sustained themselves with transfer fees and spent within their means. So I can sort of understand how.
It's spending within your means, but I just think it seems like Man City kind of have kind of upset the party in the last 10, 15 years with the money they spent, and obviously, but all these Premier League clubs who are sort of saying you can't do that, they've always had the opportunity to spend a lot of money, and it does seem like if this is the case and clubs can't necessarily spend money, then is the top six just a permanently closed shop?
Yeah, I mean, financial fair play, what is it? My understanding of financial fair play is that you publish your profits and your global profits from shirt sales, player sales, and all the money you're making essentially, and you can only spend a percentage of what you've made.
Yeah, I think it's to do with like losses and sustained losses because, well, Paul Barber, Brighton's chief executive, used to be Mr. Financial Fair Play because that's all that he would literally ever talk about constantly.
Well, yeah, it's his excuse. Well,
And I think, well, but what I would say is it's sort of, I wouldn't necessarily talk about. I think it's to do with like sustained losses. I think, for example, correct me if I'm wrong, and I have to look it up. But Brighton can make a £33 million deficit one year, and then within the next year they have to make only a certain amount, so 16 million deficit, and they've got to keep on improving, if that makes sense.
Right. Okay.
Until they're sustainable, so you can still make a loss under financial fair play, but it's not necessarily. You can't make any loss, if that makes sense. It's just got to be sustainable. But what I don't understand is, a lot of these financial fair play rules have applied to championship clubs. Sheffield Wednesday, QPR, they're two which had transfer embargoes because of overspending.
Chelsea.
Chelsea.
That wasn't. Sorry, no, wasn't financial fair play. That was poaching youngsters, wasn't
it? But what is? Why have these championship clubs got the fine, but Man City seem to get away with it? I mean, let's be honest. Like the whole thing is a bit of a farce, really.
It reeks of corruption. I mean,
I think Man City had a point when they're saying like this whole thing doesn't really make any sense, and that's fine. But what annoys me is that smaller clubs have been handing a punishment when Man City haven't.
Yeah. Do you think this opens the door to other clubs taking advantage of Uefa?
Well, I think other clubs already have. I can't remember which clubs exactly. I think it's Sheffield Wednesday again, who sold their own stadium to themselves. Derby County definitely being investigated for it. I won't say anything liable here.
Sold their stadium to the...
So the owners sold.
Isn't that what's going on at Wigan at the moment?
No, Wigan is a mess from head to bottom, and we'll get to that. But I think what it is that the owner is selling is selling the stadium from Derby County Football Club to a separate company which solely owns the stadium and is also owned by the same owner.
There is grounds.
So essentially, they're just getting money.
Yeah.
Saying they've sold, that the money's just moving from. You can sell it for 100 million, and then all of a sudden that's money you've made.
I mean, that sounds very doable and very
within the rules as well.
Yeah,
you can and it's sponsorship deals as well. There's ways around it.
I know PSG had this exact situation, and when your club is owned by essentially an entire country, then
who have endless money.
Yeah.
Seemingly.
How do you?
Etihad could just rock up and say, "We want to sponsor Man City for, 300 million."
Yeah. And whatever they need to.
And then they can just move it across. So, that doesn't really make sense.
That's probably what's happened, to be fair.
Yeah, the rules are a bit of a farce. So, I think it's not necessarily, as Klopp was saying, a bad day for football. He's prophesying.
Do you think this has always been going on?
Oh, this has always been going on for years. So different clubs do different money things. I don't think this is anything new. People just don't really like it with Man City, in my opinion, because they're not one of
magnifying glass on.
Yeah,
Man
because
City
they're not one of the traditional top six. I mean, I don't. I've always quite liked Man City for the reason that they used to be shit, but they're not
7-1 versus Borough.
Yeah, 8-1.
8-1. Sorry.
All right.
Never forget.
Let you off this time.
Adam Johnson, absolute baller that day.
Yeah, he did play very well.
What happened to him these days?
Well, I possibly comment.
Earned himself a move to Man City.
Yes, he did. Yeah, he did earn himself a move to Man City with those goals. So, but yeah, no, I think it's been. I think there's a magnifying glass on Man City because of their, not traditional bigness. That's not really a real word.
Prestige.
Yeah, prestige. That's it. Yeah. Because I mean, what really makes a club big? I mean, that's a debate for another day. But I don't know really. So yeah.
So on to the other end of the table. Obviously, Man City can't win the title anymore. That's gone to Liverpool, but the Premiership definitely isn't over with. There's lots of exciting
No.
battles to be had for Europe and relegation.
Yeah.
Obviously, Norwich are already down. Rest in
And
peace.
currently 1-0 down to Chelsea.
Yeah, as we're recording, they're playing Chelsea. So
Olivier Giroud.
absolute baller, by the way.
Yeah, should have never left Arsenal.
Yeah, gutted he went. So
Well, he should have left Arsenal.
at the bottom, we currently have. I'll pull up a table so I don't.
Yeah, I've got the table here.
So who possibly to still get relegated? It's still all to play for. Villa, Bournemouth, Watford, West Ham, and Brighton. I wouldn't say Brighton are safe. They're not, are
No.
they?
I wouldn't. I think after not West Ham, Villa. Well, since this weekend where West Ham, Watford, Bournemouth, and Aston Villa all won. I think I was for about 2.5 hours going on about how we're going to go down. Somebody sent me something which said we have a less than 1% chance of going down, which makes me believe it even more that we're going to go down.
It's just, I mean, just having a quick look mathematically, 39 points. Nope, sorry, we've got 3 games left, haven't we? So, mathematically, 40 points will not even keep you safe.
At the moment, no, but I think
41 keeps you safe mathematically. Brighton are on 36, West Ham 34, Watford 34, Bournemouth 31. So obviously they can get 40 points still.
I think the thing is though is that West Ham, Watford have to play each other, and Villa and West Ham. So I think there's something in that which means that possibly 39 will mean safety. Because you can't get all the teams getting certain points. But it's definitely interesting.
So if we look at Villa's run, I'm going to ask you: win, lose, draw.
Okay.
Villa are away to Everton.
I think they'll win that.
Really?
Yeah. Everton haven't impressed me since the restart.
Draw specialists. I'm going to call it draw on that one.
They just seem to be very poor.
It's going to be an ugly game. That's what I'm saying.
They just seem very poor. Not really away. They haven't got anything to play for really.
Yeah.
So it just depends if they send the kids out or not. Just looking at their points, they're on 45. Realistically, getting Europe this season, you've got to be 8th, and they're 7 points off that. So, you can't
see it happening.
No, you can't see it happening myself.
Then they're at home to Arsenal. I can't call that, but
which I think is
great form currently. Obviously, they just lost to Tottenham, but they've
derby game. Anything can happen.
Can't call it.
I'm going to go with a draw on that one. I feel like Arsenal will be out of the race for Europe at that point.
I'm going to have to back Arsenal there. I can't. I think it's going to be ugly again. I can't see Villa playing a pretty game for the rest of the season, to be honest.
Just looking at the table now, though, Arsenal could still overtake Sheffield United.
Really?
So it's not out of the realms of possibility there.
And their final game is Villa are playing West Ham away.
that anything could happen in that game. I think it just all depends on the position of West Ham at the time of playing, because that
Right,
could be a winner takes all game.
right. Let's
Really,
speed through these. So,
yeah, got a long time in us.
yeah.
Is it?
So well done, Villa fans. You got a big spotlight there. So, Man City, Bournemouth.
Yep,
I
I
can't
know this
see
sounds absolutely like I'm on crack or something, but I just see Bournemouth nicking
this.
something
This
here.
is your pessimism coming in here.
Yeah, oh, big time, big time.
Absolute Man City win, no discussion. They've been
Fair enough.
mowing teams down. Then Bournemouth, Southampton.
I think it all depends on what the Man City result is.
Yep, I agree.
Because if it is the Man City result, that game could send them down.
They good, yeah.
If they lose, so I'm sure Southampton fans will be relishing the chance to send
Southampton
Bournemouth.
in good form, but using your logic, still got nothing to play for.
Got nothing to play for, but
Local
if
derby, you
the
know.
local derby, they want to send them down. I think.
I'm gonna say, depending on result, draw. And
Draw.
then their last game of the season is. Bear with me. Who are they playing? I can't see them.
Everton. I've got Everton. Right, they are playing Everton,
Everton
away.
Sorry, Everton away.
Yeah. Once again, I think that just depends on the other two results. Because if they're if they're 1 point off,
I mean,
safety,
if they're down at this, they could very much be down at this point, so it might not matter.
But if it could be anything that final day, I think for all the teams in the relegation zone, it'll be huge. They might need points to stay up, points to go down.
And then we got Burnley. What am I talking about? Burnley.
Watford.
Then we got Watford versus West Ham. That's a huge game.
Yeah, that's huge. I think whoever wins that is safe.
This actually screams a draw, I'm afraid.
Scream draw, and I think Watford, they're in for a dangerous couple of games after that. I mean,
think
if they don't, because if you look, their fixtures after that is City and Arsenal.
So yeah, I mean, Watford traditionally play quite well against Arsenal.
They do. So, and once again, if that last day,
I'm basing that on Unai Emery, so it's hard to say. Can't see him beating City. And then onto
City's still
our
got a hoodoo over Watford.
beloved Brighton. Now, I
Well,
will
West
tell
Ham?
you.
West Ham.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, West Ham, Watford. We've discussed that one.
Yep.
Then we have got them to
I
play
think
United.
and then Villa at home. West Ham actually could.
The way Man U are going, I can't see them losing to West Ham. Plus, they'll have something to play for in that game.
I think basically that game tomorrow night, West Ham Watford, is
huge game.
That's massive.
Then West Ham Villa again.
I think if West Ham lose to Watford, they will be shitting themselves for the Villa game.
I mean, if they do lose to Watford, that could well be a relegation match. Watford, West Ham Villa.
Yeah, definitely.
So I want it to happen. Just
I know.
We can see Shane's reaction when they go 1-0 down.
Or Villa could just peter out and that be a nothing game. But I think none of the games, if everybody loses repeatedly, will be nothing games now. Because Bournemouth are only 3 points behind Watford now. So
it's an exciting run of games.
Yeah. And then finally Brighton.
Our beloved Brighton and Hove Albion. Right, I will say, off camera, me and Jack did have a bit of a disagreement on this one, so I'm excited to hear your opinion.
I just had... Well, okay, so...
Was that on a hot head?
That was on a hot head.
So we've got Southampton versus Brighton, Thursday night. This is my most feared opponent we've got left.
Yeah, so I'm scared of all three of these because I think they're all better than us.
Southampton obviously in very fine form.
Yes.
Just got a result at Man United, which is very impressive in their current form.
Yeah, they did.
United,
That's a good result.
United have just been blowing teams away. I've been really impressed with how
Of course,
they've.
beating City as well.
Yes, beating City. I mean, luck or skill? You tell me.
Uh, well,
But
and then yeah,
however you win, they still beat City. We got bowled over. Was it 5-0?
yeah. So
Yeah.
technically they should beat us 6-0, but football doesn't work like that.
um,
Yeah,
we normally have good games against Southampton.
yeah, they're good games.
Um,
The shame earlier in the
Draws,
season,
losses. I mean, yeah,
I
they
think, yeah,
scare
'cause
me.
that at the beginning of the season,
Ward
we
Prowse always plays well against us, I've noticed.
he does. I've always thought he's one of the best players in Southampton squads, but many Southampton fans have told me that that's completely wrong. So, but there you go.
He's got a beautiful set piece on him, and
Yes, he has got one.
that's what Mark Noble's made his career on.
Um, it's a weird one. I don't know because obviously we saw them play earlier in the season against us, and we lost 2-0, and we didn't deserve to lose that, even though we're down to 10 men due to Florin Andoni just being a generally violent person, as he usually is.
That game was frustrating.
It's a
I had a
frustrating
bet
one.
on that game. I don't need to score, Brighton to
Well,
win. My
um,
heart dropped when he got sent off after like 20 minutes.
so then that was a shame because I think and they were terrible. And I think a lot of people aren't giving Hassan Huttel credit for what he's done this season because they lost 9-0 to Leicester, which is
Yeah, I think you've got to give a lot of credit to the board as well for
for
giving
not
him the
sacking.
time,
Um,
because a lot of clubs would take a serious look at their manager after losing 9-0, but
right. Yeah,
they obviously
I
had
think they're
a
around. They're in
long-term
the
plan.
relegation zone at the time. But they turned it around. Obviously, done really well, and then they beat Leicester at their place in the end
I mean,
later in the season.
what a story.
Um, so I think he gets massively overlooked for his work this season. So
Yeah,
personally, they do scare me a lot. I do think they're man for man at every single position. I know that sounds very dramatic. They are a better side than us.
centre backs and goalkeeper are worse. I would say
Yeah,
100% definitely not goalie. Yeah. So
Dunk is obviously the best player in our team. Debatably best English centre back in the league.
who's their right back as well?
I almost said Nathaniel Klein then.
This Walker Peters, isn't
Yeah, Walker Peters. He isn't a bad player. All right.
it?
Right back. All right. Maybe they're not man for man. Like I said, it's very hot headed, me having a man. So I think they are beatable, but we've just got to be careful by
Right.
it. There is a worry that we get 0 points from these
Yeah.
3 games, which is what I worry about.
So you think we're gonna draw, win, lose?
Um,
Gut
close to call.
instinct.
Gut instinct is we lose 1-0.
I can't. I don't think that's out of the realms of
No,
possibility.
or a 0-0 draw. I don't think there's goals in this game.
And then our next game is Brighton versus Newcastle.
Yeah. Who've just lost to Watford at weekend, so which is surprising. And
Newcastle,
they're
another
also
team that have come back from the break looking
yeah.
very sharp.
Uh,
Almiron finding form. Gale's banging in some goals.
which is strange.
St Maximin absolutely ferocious. He's very scary. I will
Yeah, their
tell
front
you.
three definitely fantastic players.
I will tell you. Our friend Oliver said Dwight Gale is the best finisher he's ever seen play for Crystal Palace. So
talking
think of
about
what
some,
you will. I mean, they are used to Benteke these days, so
he said something else I'm thinking recently, but I can't remember what it
he
was.
said Mohamedou Sakho's got the best defensive positioning he's ever
Oh, that was the one, yeah. I think it was as we watched that goal against Leicester. Never mind that one.
So
Yeah.
I think we've got a good record against Newcastle.
We do, we do. We should have done them really earlier in the season.
That what the
Uh,
0-0.
yeah, 0-0. We're by far better team
And
that day.
is that the game where Connolly chipped him and he booted it off the line? Or was that
Yes, that
last?
was the one. And Andy Carroll came on, and it was like Christmas, and then he walked around just headbutting people for not really
um,
doing anything.
yeah, I mean, yeah, that was a different Newcastle. I think they're a
Yeah,
lot better now. However, very similar teams. The way they set up.
and they have got nothing left to play for.
Yep, that's another factor.
Um,
I'm really confident that we won't lose this one. I know you hate
I
it
think
when I say stuff like that, but
it's going to come back to bite us, but no, I think a draw here.
draw minimum. I think
Yeah,
set up, nice defensive, counter-attacking team for
set
us.
up not to lose and see what happens.
Exactly. Well,
I think we need
like
to
you
do that's
say,
what we
it's
need to do that for all three games this
yeah,
season.
like you say,
Set up.
it's each game will cause a reaction for the next game, so it is hard to predict. And then finally, last game of the season, Burnley. We've got Burnley.
I'm not a huge fan of Burnley as because they just do us every single year. But
Is it safe to say Burnley can fuck off?
yes, but what I will say is
What will you say
they
to
are a good
me?
side. They are a good side. People slag them off for not being good enough, but they get points. They can. I mean, there's level with Arsenal. And you think of the resources they've had. Have they spent a fee this season? I'm not sure. Um, you look at their team, and a lot of it is still the basis of a championship team. They're never going
I
to get
mean,
relegated.
off the top of my head, I can think of the Bristol City centre mid they bought.
Oh yeah, Josh Brownhill, good
Um,
player.
but like you say, is that he probably cost very
Yeah, it cost
very
he
little.
cost about 8 million, something like that, which is pennies really for the Prem. I'm probably going to be completely wrong as I say that, but anyway. But yeah, I like Burnley's side. I think they're incredibly difficult to break down. I think that's the key to it all. The only team who seem to have bodied them is Manchester City, who seem to body everyone.
Mm.
Um, and they're hard to break down. They play well. I don't know. I like Burnley. I don't see us. I can see us going 1-0 down in this game, and that's it. Which happens so much because it's just you're just crossing balls in, sending them in, and they just pack the box. So yeah, that
I
worries.
personally, well, when we're talking about Brighton, I think we've got a very good chance against Burnley. I think.
You underestimate Burnley.
No,
I think that's
I'll
what
give them credit. Yeah, they're organised. They're physical. They you go in a lot of the big six teams go into Burnley and think, oh, it's Burnley. It's miserable conditions. Their facilities are shit compared to most clubs. And they probably don't want to be there. And then they get on the pitch and they're facing an organised team that will kick you and push you and wrestle for every ball. And they end up losing 1 or 2-0. But um, Brighton, I think, especially if we need something, that's what upsets Burnley. They face teams that just get intimidated and
yeah, I think
bully football is how I'd describe Burnley's style of play.
and I definitely agree.
I think I just went on for a bit with no real point, but my point
Yeah,
is, if we're up for it and we're 100% committed and our ambition matches what Burnley's ambition is week in, week out, which is very impressive. That's all Sean Dyche's work.
yeah,
He makes those players want that ball more than they want, you know,
anything.
Fanny, whatever. But
Yeah,
credit to Sean Dyche. He is superb at riling his players up and making them want it. But I just don't think they're unbeatable. That's
No,
my overall
I
opinion.
agree. I do agree at times, but I just think they're very hard to break down sometimes. So many trips to Burnley have resulted in a 1-0, 1-1. I think if you went for our previous. Last time we won at Burnley, I remember Craig Smith scored a overhead
Overhead
kick.
kick.
Yeah, I think that was the last time we won.
2-1.
3-1 that was. Greer got a late goal.
Oh, right. Stat
Um,
man, Jack.
yeah, exactly. There you go. God, trying to think where we. I think we've beaten them since then, but we haven't. We haven't.
I remember last season we should have won, but the referee uh, didn't give us a pen when we deserved one and gave them a pen.
Last season.
Yeah, at home.
Oh, at home. Sorry, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and then we should.
Oh,
Have
you're on about away.
Yeah, sorry. I meant the last time we beat them away.
Yeah. No.
We've beaten them a few times at home, but last time we beat them away, I can't remember. Burnley's always not a fun place to go for a Brighton fan because it's end of the year. So yeah, that game scares me a bit if we need something, but whatever will happen will happen.
C'est la vie.
Yeah, c'est la vie, c'est la vie. So it's an interesting relegation thing. I'm obviously going to be in a mess until we're.
Maybe we'll do a fan cam if there's something to play for.
I actually signed up to do the Premier League one, which is an interesting story because they emailed me and they wanted me to do it for the Man City game. Not Man City game, for the Liverpool game. And I was sitting on my laptop, didn't see myself once, didn't see myself on it at all. And I thought, that's the only reason. Yeah, I was on it. I was meant to be filmed, but never saw me. So that was a very disappointing experience. So thumbs down from from Jack to the Premier League from my experience. There was, and then they asked me to do it again for the City game, and I just didn't bother. Mainly because I was drinking with my friends. So
I can confirm Brighton last beat Burnley 3-1 at their place. Since then, there's been a staggering 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 draws out of possible 8 games. So say what you will, but I think that's going to be a draw.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. There we go. Done.
That is our thoughts on the relegation. Now we are going to go onto this topic that might not work this week, but Jack, tell us about your addiction.
I've just got loads of football shirts. It started off when I was at work and I was playing five-a-side, and I turned up in a different.
Start it. Hi, my name's Jack, and I'm.
Yeah, I know. I'm an addict. No, it started off at work. Hopefully, no one sound bites that.
Everyone's probably switch off by now. It's alright.
Yeah, it's alright. It started off well. It started off at work because I turned up in a different football shirt every week to five-a-side. And then I ran out of shirts, and then I had to start buying them, so I'd keep on turning up in a different shirt of classic football shirts. And I love a bargain. I love a drunk bargain as well, which is another big problem. So I've got over 100 now. So I like weird shirts, away shirts, not really ones from England. I mainly like foreign shirts. Exotic. So
what is your shirt of the week?
So this might not really work because we have no camera, but
I can overlay
it. So I've got a Cuba concept shirt, which I got off some website, and it took a month to arrive. There were 5 emails in the email chain about it not turning up before it actually did turn up. So I've got this one concept shirt, which is kind of ironic, really, considering Cuba is like the most anti-capitalist state. Well, it's communist, so that is fairly anti-capitalist.
Anti-capitalist as you get.
Yes, yeah. I don't think you can get any more anti-capitalist.
Just to confirm, you're wearing a national shirt, not a.
Yeah, so Cuban national team concept shirt. So it's not really a national shirt because it's never been worn by them. But and they're just making money off fake shirts, which is very capitalist. So that's slightly ironic, but it's a nice shirt. It's got the Cuban flag on it, and I like wearing it with a beret. All it needs is Che Guevara smoking a cigar. Sorry, Fidel Castro smoking a cigar on it, and it will look magnifique. So yeah, big fan of this one.
Shout out to him. Nearly got killed over 300 times.
Yes, exactly.
Fidel Castro.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've spoken about relegation.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about promotion.
Yeah.
League One to Championship. Their playoffs have just finished, and big congratulations to Wycombe.
Yeah, definitely.
Just got promoted to the Championship from League One. Adebayo Akinfenwa, and should we say, I will say on a whim, Ainsworth, Mr. Ainsworth. Sorry, I can't remember.
Gareth Ainsworth.
Gareth Ainsworth. You have done a fantastic job at Wycombe.
Yes, definitely.
Judd, do you want to tell us where they started off?
Well, they were predicted. I think I'm not sure what it is, whether it's second bottom or bottom, smallest budget in the league. I can imagine Accrington is probably below them, and Bury, who obviously don't exist anymore at the beginning of the season. And they were predicted to finish second bottom as well, and they've just come into their own this season. And they've got into the playoffs. They got into the playoffs actually technically on points per game, which was a lot of controversy, mainly with the Peterborough owner on Twitter. He wasn't very happy about it, but they weren't going to be in the playoffs, and then they did the points per game, and they had it. They're in the playoffs, and they did actually vote to end the season as well.
Did they?
Yeah, they did vote to end the season.
Well, there you go.
So I think they rocked the boat a bit in League One by doing that. But whatever happened.
I mean, took him from League Two as well. They're in League Two when he took over, so double promotion for them.
And I think the League One playoffs, there was no better way to do it than this. Because Ipswich, there's some big clubs in that league. Ipswich, Sunderland, Peterborough, all who didn't get the playoffs, so fair play to them.
Yeah.
Fleetwood have been a very good side this season as well.
Yeah, obviously they join Coventry and Rotherham in next year's championship.
Yep.
I was going to say another big well done to Coventry, because they've also, particularly well done to the management of Coventry, not so much the owners, because they've let their club down massively over the last few years. But that's a big win for that part of the world.
No, it's huge for a club. That was the first time they finished in a top 6 for God knows how many years.
Yeah, and obviously sharing a stadium with Birmingham at the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
So, fair play, and
well done to them. Should
really
be
happy
interesting
for all the fans that have supported them.
If Brighton get relegated in my doom prophecy with the minus 1%, and just some great away days in the Championship this season. Next season even, if we're allowed back.
Bloody hope so.
So that would be good. So well done Wycombe. Especially
from Wycombe to Wigan, how the tables turn. That was an awful song, but from Wycombe to Wigan. At point of recording, Wigan have just beaten Hull 8-0.
Yeah, never before have I seen fixtures come in which scream so much of match fixing. But I think with everything going on at Wigan, it does seem slightly suspect.
Yeah, I mean, they've had about 10 owners in the last month, so
I do know a Hull fan, and I did ask him whether it looks like it was match fixing, because obviously not everybody can watch it unless you've got iFollow, and he said, no, we are just that bad. So it doesn't surprise me. Obviously, that's a massive result for them. It actually sends them, well, depending on what this Luton full time bit is, will send them 12 points clear of the relegation zone.
Which is very
Which
convenient.
Yes, which is very convenient. They went into plus goal difference just as they went 12 points to the team on the relegation. We shall not comment any further on that. Yeah.
So, do you think there's a way back for them with all this
It just seems like a mess.
administration business?
Yeah, it just seems like a mess from top to bottom, to be honest. Lots of rumours flying around about stuff like match fixing. A bet was placed in the Philippines, I was reading. I don't know how true that is. Obviously not verified. And obviously their owners coming in only 4 weeks ago and placing them into administration. Lots of things that the administrators are saying is there's absolutely nothing wrong with the finances at this club. We have no idea why they've been placed in administration.
I will say, I don't know if it's the same for big business, but if you personally declare yourself bankrupt, that clears you of all debt. So whether they're trying to,
I don't think they're declared as bankrupt yet, but you know.
is it the same sort of thing? Putting yourself into.
Not really, but
whether they're trying to find a loophole or something. But
yeah, I think it's a very strange.
With that being said, the footballing benefits of putting yourself into administration are very hard to find. So,
considering you most likely get a 12-point deduction.
Yeah.
So,
which isn't an issue if you fix matches to keep you up anyway.
No, exactly.
I mean, there's something dodgy going on at Wigan. Me and Jack were thinking about the last time they won by more than 2 or 3 goals, and I can't remember.
Well, they obviously had a few good seasons in League One.
And Jack said that, yeah.
When they got promoted, so probably with counting that, they've obviously had a few years since they were good. They do often get hammered by that many goals. I remember when I think there was an 8-0 loss to Chelsea that off the top of my head, and a 9-1 loss at Tottenham.
Yep. So good. I mean, you don't want to lose that much by Tottenham because they'll make a DVD on it, and I've wanted a DVD in football class. So.
And as well, Jermaine Defoe scored 5 that day.
Yeah. Absolute dynamic striker back in the day.
So that was obviously, an utterly bizarre game tonight to see them win 8-0, but you don't see that often. But I think Hull are just that bad.
My favourite thing about this whole Wigan situation, not Hull, is the fact that Brighton have or are in the process of signing Jensen Weir from Wigan, and his dad is on the books at Brighton.
Well, yeah, he's one of the loan manager.
Yeah,
I believe
he keeps up to date with all the foreign loan players.
Indeed. So
they've had to sell him just to pay the staff.
Yeah. But what seems? I mean, Jensen Weir. I mean, we've obviously, us at the club, have had a history of receiving transfers which seem strangely high, which saved us back in the day. So you do wonder if something like that's going on here. Like Adam Virgo to Celtic for £1.5 million. Virgo was great for Brighton, but he was never worth £1.5 million.
Reading reports, it says £600,000 plus add-on. So, like you say, I think he's had a word with Dad.
Yes.
Dad's had a word with Paul.
Yeah, totally.
The age-old scratch my back.
Yes.
I mean, he could be quality. We could be getting him.
Could be. He's 18. he's made one appearance.
Not a lot about him on YouTube, I will say that, but
No, he's got a
whenever there is
Wikipedia page, which is more to be said than our other recent signing, Lars Den Donker. Yeah,
Yappy.
he made his he actually was the club's youngest ever player.
Made his debut age 15.
Yeah, he made his debut age 15 in the Johnson's Paint Trophy, which I have just found out. So yeah,
Time will tell. I wouldn't be bothered if he was shit and we were just helping them out. Because like you said,
it's happened to Brighton.
Yeah, we've been in the same situation.
But he's 18. Looks like a decent player. Made one championship appearance, so he could be decent.
Yeah, you don't get that far, that sort of opportunity unless you are very good at that age. So
yeah, so there's got to be something in it. But as well, you look at our under 23s, and it does seem like to a certain extent a black hole. But hopefully that black hole is starting to.
I've been waiting for years, constantly seeing these youth signings coming through straight into the development squad. When are they going to come out?
They just sort of disappeared into the abyss, which
I
is. I
thought that Richards fella would be in the first team by now. He's
training with the first team at the moment, so
he was a hot prospect.
Good to see him, but I think it all depends on what happens in the summer with a lot of these players. I think a few of them have come in for decent fees. Anders Dreyer being one of them, who's gone now.
Pessimistic, but I think there's been a plan with the under 23s as sort of like a safety net if we get relegated.
Yeah, and I think definitely they're to an extent a cash cow. I think we are trying to follow Chelsea's business model to an extent, which is something which I'm not a huge fan of.
No, not at all. I think it's very unfair on the players.
But there is a lot of quality in our under 23s. I think with Graham Potter coming in and the academy, we might start to see the fruits of our labour here.
One can hope.
This season we've had a few players come from the under 23s. Aaron Connolly. Lamptey was from Chelsea, kind of under 23s. I think he was always meant for the first team. And then you look at Alzate, who's been fantastic, who I would put up there as my young player of the season.
Ahead of Connolly.
Ahead of Connolly, definitely, yeah. And we've had Connolly come through. Christian Walton's doing great in the championship for Blackburn. Jason Malumbi obviously doing very well at Millwall, and Ben White doing fantastic at Leeds United.
A lot of stink around that guy, Ben White.
Yeah, looking like it's really. As well as that, Ostergaard and Girakesh, both at San Pauli in the German second division. Victor Gykoris has got a fantastic record considering for the number of appearances, number of minutes he's actually played. And then, of course, we have our best young player in the development squad, which is Andrew Crofts.
I see that, and he's like, well, why are you still there?
He played all the EFL trophy games.
I know, it's like...
But anyway, that was a strange one. I get the ideas behind it, and obviously Teddy Jenks is meant to be very good. He's just signed a new contract.
Yep.
And we have a huge amount out on loan in England, and they're not at stupid levels. It's not like we've got a squad of players who just sort of, we're not. I wouldn't say we're hoarding them.
No.
They seem to go out on loan, like Sanchez and Sanders, and you go through the list of all these players. You've got Hayden Roberts is meant to be a very good player. Leeds want him on loan next season, even if they're in the Premier League. And then Cole Rushworth, who was at Worthing, a local non-league side, who apparently Barcelona were looking at.
Yep.
So
don't know how much truth there is to that.
No idea. Fair enough if the Barcelona scouts went along to Woodside.
Mackerel men.
Yeah. The Mackerel men?
No, that's Shoreham.
Yeah.
Is it the Mackerel Men?
Are they the Pirates? Or is that Hastings?
They might be the Mackerel Men.
Yeah, maybe you're alright.
Something fishy, because they got fish on their badge, ain't they?
Yeah, do they? Oh, they
Three
do,
fish.
yeah. They do have a fish. This is poor from me.
Yeah.
Nicknames, yeah, the Mackerel Men. You've done that. There you go. The
Way!
Rebels.
Get me on
The
pointless.
Yeah, the other name though is the Rebels, which I remember.
Yeah, Worthing Rebels.
Oh
Talking
yeah.
about seeing the fruits of our labour. Are you? Tell me how much. I was going to ask if you were, but I think we know the answer to that. How much are you itching to get back on the roads and
Oh,
watching?
I don't. If anything, this whole lockdown period has taught me one thing. In that I don't. I like football, but I like drinking at the football just as much, if not even a tiny little bit more. That I don't, that I just want to go with my friends. Football is a social event.
It is our church, and
Yes,
we
and I
are
think,
mere followers.
yeah, exactly. Especially my friends. I think having my friends round, especially now we can go to people's houses.
It just makes it a lot better.
Just makes it so much better to watch football. To enjoy it with people. Because then as well, you're not just sitting in your, if you lose 5-0 to City, you're not just sitting in your front room getting angrier and angrier.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was doing that, but I was doing that with friends. So,
Social.
I can't wait. They're talking about doing it at 40% capacity. And as Mr. Loyalty Points himself, I should be first person in that stadium.
Would you be happy though, or would you feel like it was missing something?
I don't think there will be. It'll be like ending
I
the
think
league.
you've got to go all or nothing. Personally,
You think so?
yeah.
I think I think inevitably we'll have it at reduced capacity. But what I think is there will be no easy way to do it. To tell people who can go and who can't go.
Yeah, that's my problem. I mean,
Whereas they do it on, and that's why I say you say all or nothing, and I agree with you. But there will be no fair way, and I don't mind missing a few if somebody else goes.
yeah. I mean, yeah, it would be fairer if it was rotational.
Yeah.
40% or because
Yeah.
I don't like that really.
But, if you bring it up to 50%, it just depends how much we can fit in the stadium, how many people.
Yeah, I mean, well, if we look at it 50% and everyone's a seat apart, then I don't see why.
Yeah, and I mean 50% capacity, 40% capacity could be
no
half.
away fans.
No away
That's
fans.
probably what they'd be doing.
Yeah.
Seat apart and no away fans.
Half of 40% of capacity at Brighton is probably half the season ticket holders. So
Yeah.
if you do it on a rotational basis where you have half go one week, half go the other, that's fine by me.
And I'm a stickler for fairness.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah.
So I'm not hugely devastated by that. It just kind of so much is opening up in towns and cities, and like you go down Brighton Beach and it's rammed. You think how much it is a difference to being in a football stadium.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially like I went on the Black Lives Matter protest, and there's you're right next to people there with face masks on, and that was almost more than a month ago now, and I'm fine. So
yeah, I mean,
I'm not
a different topic, but
this is not to say I'm saying I am indestructible. I cannot be destroyed by coronavirus, because it's seemingly every single person that said that has died. So I don't want to jinx it. But nothing happened after that. So they're definitely
I mean, there's a whole different debate, but whether I think the blanket for PR reasons you've got to take it seriously. Whether individually necessarily, I think it should be taken as seriously as it is another topic. But you just can't Especially, I mean, yeah, there's me saying I'm not that bothered, but where I would sit, that we're surrounded by, old people, 70-year-olds, 80-year-olds, and you've got to look at it in the
Mm.
compassionate sense that
Yeah,
if they had it,
I
they
think
probably would be in trouble.
I think looking at it from my perspective is when the season comes back, which we don't have a start date yet for it.
Well, they're talking
But
about rolling straight in
yeah,
very quickly.
September. I've talked to talking in terms of just general life. They, you know, businesses talk about sending people back to offices in September. So will that be the time when we can go back to football? But the idea is basically, in September we could have, had no coronavirus cases for months.
Mm.
If it goes on as it is, constantly going down. I mean, there are only 11 deaths today. Obviously, you've got to look at new infections, but there's only 11. But then, so you could be in September, you could be looking at it like, oh, that was complete overreaction, or there could be a massive second wave.
Yeah, I mean, it's
It
not
could
an
be,
easy decision
it
either
could, it
way.
could So, what I just think is when we come round to it, we'll just have to see where it is, and that's the right decision that can be taken. So, yeah, I'm not desperate to get back, but I would love to get back.
What you're saying is we've got options,
Yes,
and
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 I would
the,
love to get back. I'd love it. That would be the best thing ever. It's the thing I've missed the
there's
most.
nothing like a roar when your team
Oh yeah,
scores.
there's nothing like
And
getting up.
bundling on Scott Ridge and
Yeah,
trying to pop his bag.
Uh,
Did we just say
uh,
something?
yeah. And there is no better feeling than getting up at 7 a.m. to get to Brighton Station, crack open the Dartfruit because it's the only thing your body will handle at 7 a.m.
Quickly
Getting to Burnley at 11.
deflecting every dirty look you get with your
Yeah,
Dartfruit
yeah.
can. Back off.
By 11 o'clock, getting to wherever you've ended up for the day, spending all day in the pub, going to a game, watching us lose 1-0 or win 1-0. Win or lose, we're on the booze. Getting home. I remember getting the train home from Wolves last season, the tube carriage actually shaking from everybody jumping up and down.
Biblical.
And, yeah, biblical. And, that
That's
was
what
it.
it's about.
Yeah.
The if anything, the 90 minutes is an inconvenience. You just
Yes, for me, watching
never forget the 5 hours we spent in the car to Rotherham.
oh, yeah.
In a
Glad we don't do the car anymore.
bundled into a Peugeot 206, 106. What was it? Peugeot.
No, 306.
Either way, it was one of the small Peugeots. 5 growing boys in one of them.
That was a bit homoerotic, that.
Yeah,
growing
our
boys.
cocks were growing. Definitely
Yeah.
not meant for 5 people above the size of 4'2". So I was the
Definitely.
only one that was alright.
Yeah.
Losing 1-0 and then 5 hours back.
Then someone won a bet. Someone won a bet for Wolves equalising, and that was the day sorted. That was the best thing that happened.
Yeah.
Dickophobia Sacco, yeah, it probably was.
Oh yeah, it was Scott.
Dickophobia Sacco.
Oh, it's magic. Dickophobia Sacco.
All who are no longer at Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I know that I just want to be back on it, back on the big, and especially I've heard rumours, I don't know how true they are, that by the end of the month we could see non-league stadiums back open again.
Well, they need it, don't they?
And they need it, and that's something I love to do, is just go watch a non-league game. So definitely, if they start opening on Saturdays, even for pre-season friendlies, I'll be there straight away.
If this
Pints of poor quality football.
if this gets 5 likes, Jack will be doing a Jack's non-league diaries.
Yeah, yeah, okay, right, I'll do it.
5 likes.
Yeah.
Jack will take you around. Where's the give us a little
First one.
teaser. Where's the worst ground you've been?
Worst ground,
Non-league.
non-league or non-league? I was going to say, because worst ground football league is Selhurst Park. I make no apologies to fucking no one. Um,
I
um,
apologise. Non-league.
um, non-league, some ropey ones I went to in Yorkshire uh, when I was up at university. Shelley FC is in the middle of nowhere, but it's a lovely place once you get to the end. But it's 20 minutes down a pitch black, no lighted path.
Whoa.
The nearest
400
road.
Express.
But you can't get wrong when you get down there when it's $2.50 a pint. Emily FC is one of my favourite ones. Emily AFC. One of
We're
the
noticing a
worst.
theme. The quality is directly correlated to the price of a pint.
Yes, that is true. God, there are some. Salford City, I'm going to count as a non-league club because I hated it there.
Oh, it was. Been
It's not
improved
a real,
since.
real stadium. Non-league, that's a hard one. Bradford Park Avenue was very cold and miserable. Last ground I went to before lockdown. Stood next to Trevor Sinclair for a bit as well.
Cool.
Yeah,
He is genuinely a top bloke as well. Trevor Sinclair, West Ham legend.
Yeah. There are a few. I remember the bouncer came up to me. He's like, "Oh, you know, Trevor Sinclair's in there."
What was he doing there?
I think his son was playing for Curzon Ashton, who were the opposition.
Okay. Yeah. Did you
Bradford
speak
Park
to him?
No, I didn't. I did that thing where you see every celebrity, which you tell your friend, go, look.
I did that to Gary Neville when he was at West Ham.
Don't look. But just over there, it's Trevor
And then you
Sinclair.
end up bending your neck to look. And then
Yeah, to look. And then
don't make it obvious.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Look,
this is
but there's
potentially something we can talk about on episode
at a
2.
later date. Yes.
I mean, just set Jack off and watch him go on this topic.
Yeah.
So, if you do want to see that, if by some freak miracle you're still listening, put in the comments below. Give them a word.
Yeah.
Give them a word. What's their
word? As well, this is our first time doing it.
Jack.
Oh, sorry.
I'm trying to give a word to put in the comments if they're still listening.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
And I wanted you to give it. So.
Oh, what word?
Random word.
Just type.
Just put in the comments.
Yeah. Or no. Andylegoub. Put
Andylegoub in the comments if for some reason you're still here.
Yeah, he's still listening. Yeah, exactly.
Jack, is there any? What were you going to say before I rudely?
I was just going to say this was. Yeah, sorry about that. I was just saying this was our first time doing it.
Yeah, so, I've never been this quick before, so it's my first time.
If you have any suggestions on what we should talk about,
yeah.
So I'm doing your job here, Andy.
Yeah. If you got any suggestions on what you want us to talk about, please put it in the comments. And I think, personally, I would like to aim for one of these every week to sort of round up the footballing news of the week. And
I think after Monday, after we played Newcastle, so that similar time.
Yeah. So yeah, if you do.
Yes. If you
subscribe, like, comment, do all that thing. Follow Jack on Twitter. Go on. Follow him on Twitter. There you go. Have his Twitter.
Jack Albion. I don't even know what the Twitter account is. Give me a second. That wasn't as
link
smooth.
in the description.
My phone's just gone off. My phone won't turn on.
It's alright. It'll be in the description anyway.
It'll be in the description.
And see you for episode 2.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. Goodbye.
Sorry, I should not have said bye. That was very awkward.
Say bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening, guys. See ya.